Hello, everyone. So I'm looking at I was doing a search on the homopolar generator, Michael Faraday's research. This is a free energy system. It's an alternative energy system. I'm on the fabricator.com, and as you can see here, that's the full link. And let's see what we can see here. The potential of homopolar generator welding. This is a very interesting article that I was reading. Imagine a technology that could weld a circumferential seam of the Trans-Atlantic Alaska pipeline in less than 3 seconds. It turns out the technology, an ultra-high-power forge resistance process called homopolar generator welding, HPG, has been around for decades. Isn't that interesting? So this is using high current. Now, there are homopolar generators that can have high voltage, and my understanding is there's different ways to do that, but we can study the differences, right? So we can also study high voltage homopolar generators. If we look here, though, I'm not sure where the polarity is on this magnet. If it's all, like if it's north on one side, like on the top side, and south on the bottom, or if it's north all on the outside, all north on the outside, and then we touch the outside right here with a brush, and then touch the rod, the shaft going through the center, and that's our plus and minus, right? Depending on what way this wheel turns. If we turn it one way, it's plus, the other way is minus, or vice versa. The one's a plus, one's a minus, and depending on what direction you spin that, it'll flip polarity. Isn't that interesting? But just by spinning this in space, right? So really, space is the energy, right? We're spinning this in the flux fields of space, right? The cosmic energy, gravity waves, tachyon waves, virtual particle flux fields, dark energy, dark matter, the Dirac sea. We're spinning magnets in space and able to extract energy directly from it. And what does it provide us? In this instance, it provides lots of amperage. Now, I'm just telling you my own thoughts here. You have to read this for yourself and come to your own conclusions. I've studied Paramahamsa Tiwari's work, Space Vortex Theory, Paramahamsa's Space Power Generator. I think he also makes a generator called the Reactionless Generator. But you can study his different patents and his different works. So it says, let's see what this says here. I'm just kind of glancing through this. We were probably passing something around 500,000 amps through the interface. Wow, 500,000 amps. See, but the voltage is going to be very low, right? Only turning at 4,000 RPMs. Now, I know that's a lot of RPMs for a big piece of metal, but it's not a lot. I mean, to me, it could be higher, right? It could be 100,000 RPMs. But when you're turning metal that big and heavy, that's a lot of RPMs for something that size, right? Let's see what this says. It says the first machine's rotating metal disc was 3 feet in diameter and about 1 foot thick. It had the weight of a small Volkswagen, which is probably around 2,000 or 3,000 pounds, right? And it spun at 4,000 RPMs. We had black tape on half of the rotor shaft and white tape on the other half, and when it was spinning, all you'd see is a gray blur. Right, because they're spinning so fast. 4,000 RPMs is a lot of RPMs, right? It's fast. Within 1 second, the shaft came to a dead stop. It was a classical electromechanical conversion. We had converted all that kinetic energy, which they're calling a small Volkswagen's worth of weight, right? Spinning at 4,000 RPMs and put it into the weld. Oh, so it brought it to an instant stop, right? It stopped the machine. That's amazing. So so basically, that's a way of converting the kinetic energy of a magnet, right? They're calling it electromechanical energy. So when you spin that magnet, space, are we polarizing space? What's happening to space, right? We're spinning a magnetic field in space. Now, I'm looking at this from the point of view of what we call alternative energy or free energy. Doesn't mean it's free. I just mean we can get a COP greater than 1, right? Coefficient of performance greater than 1, and also just over unity or more energy out of something than we put in it. Why? Because we're letting space interact with the magnetic fields. But this article is, I don't think, going to talk about, I don't think they're using the words alternative energy or free energy. They're just using Michael Faraday's system of they're just strictly talking about lots of current and They're not talking about how much energy they put in and how much they're getting out, right? They're not making that calculation. I don't think they tell us how much energy they're putting into it. I'd like to know that. I think if we could convert that, we might see an over unity, meaning it might be producing more watts output than it takes to spin that, right? But what they're doing, the way they're using it, is they're converting all of that motion, electromechanical, I think they called it electromechanical, into a weld. So they're short-circuiting space. Are they short-circuiting space? Instantly, to cause that massive heat. They're changing it into heat, and it's melting the metal and making like a really nice weld, right? They called it a 3-second weld, which is very good. You can read this for yourself just by going to this link here, thefabricator.com, and then here's the full link. See it? I'm showing it to you now. You can look that link up yourself. So I'm just looking for numbers. Now here's the actual machine, it looks like. So it looks like it's inside here. I think they said it was 1 foot wide by 3 feet tall, if I recall correctly, spinning at 4,000 RPMs. That looks like the electric motor that's spinning it. See that electric motor? I would like to know how many watts that's taking. Now this is designed for welding. You see the big conductors here? Look how thick that is. That's not wire. That's big old pieces of, that's really big pieces of copper, right? To transfer all that current. This is all current, right? I mean, I don't know what the voltage is, but it's probably not very high. It might be, the voltage might be 100 volts or 50 volts. I don't know what the voltage is. It also could be hundreds of volts. I don't know. I'm just looking for numbers right now to see if they're giving us any more numbers. The DOT is not interested in us commercializing this technology, so we're now in the process of trying to identify potential applications and industries that might be interested in this. We have a machine, the bus work, the press that preloads the joint. It's a system that's essentially ready to go to try a variety of welds. I don't know if they realize that this is an over unity system themselves. And when it says that DOT is not interested in that this company commercializing it, I don't know what that means. Who's DOT? I think it's a safety company. This is designed to be an in-house process, but at the same time we are discussing the potential of rail car mounted machines powered by diesel engines. These systems could weld rail in the field. He also said that the previous pipeline project involved a system that could be transported to an offshore J-lay pipeline construction platform. Okay, well anyway, this is Michael Faraday's work continued right here, but not in reference to over unity or free energy or alternative energy, but rather into alternative approaches to welding really fast. But what the design is, and the way I found this, was by just typing in my search was what was the search? I think it was